Hello, my friends. It's the Crypto Lunatic live from the Lunar Café, bringing you hidden gems before they pop and simplifying the language of crypto for newcomers. And today I bring you a real wild ride. Today we're going down a magical little rabbit hole, is what we're going to do today. Because there's a very strange reason why I'm going to be talking about the coin in the background, because many metrics tell me that I shouldn't even be looking at this. But there's no reason to look at this coin. But because I am from the UK and I'm caught up in the round table and Arthur and all of the knights, Merlin has a special connotation for me, a magical formula. And I want to find out whether there's any hidden magic in this chain today. So I'm going to explain what it is. I'm going to look into it. And I'm also going to tell you that nothing that I tell you is financial advice. I'm not invested in Merlin Chain. I hadn't even heard about Merlin Chain until about 2 hours ago. And I've just crawled out of a rabbit hole and I'm now going to update you on that as to what it is. So today's a little adventure. This is just an adventure into a rabbit hole in crypto that, well, you can come and join me. Come and join me if you're brave, and let's go on a little mission here. So let's start here. So I watched a video yesterday of a chap I saw years ago pitching a thing called Bank to the Future, talking about cypherpunks. And this was a chap called Simon Dixon. Now, I remember watching him at an investment conference about 15 years ago, talking about Bank to the Future. And I watched him again last night. Now, he was an innovator, he was an early mover, he was a Bitcoin advocate, and he's made himself a lot of money because he understood what was coming. And he was talking about Bitcoin. And I wondered about the cypherpunk movement. So I asked Grok to tell me who are the top five cypherpunks. So here you go. Here's a little rabbit hole. So I've never heard of any of these until today. Timothy May, Eric Hughes, Hal Finney, um, Adam Back, and John Gilmore. And then I said, let's put them in a think tank and see if we can find the next Bitcoin. What's the next revolution that's coming? So, what is the closest coin? What are the closest coins currently on the market that hit these requirements for this new cypherpunk movement? So, the closest coins, the top five closest. Now, nothing actually hit what they said was going to be um, the next revolution, but right at the top was this little coin called Merlin coin. Now, you can see the others just in case. So, there's Map Protocol, Citrea, B2 Network, and Build on Bitcoin. So these were the five that came out, but right at the very top was Merlin Chain. Now, as I say, Merlin has a very special connotation to me being here in the UK. I loved all the round table. And if the truth be known, I've even studied a little bit about Merlin and this stuff. So it had a special resonance with me, the name. So I decided I'm going to dig into this anyway. So let's start here on CoinMarketCap. So Merlin Chain, it's 361 million market cap, which makes it way above beyond the degen zone, but certainly small enough to be exciting if this should pick up. Secondly, it looks like a scam coin, but we see here, look, suddenly it started to pick up. That something's happening at the moment, and I'm not quite sure what. Because right until here, this looks like a dead duck. It looks like a dead duck, my friend. Here we are. I'm sitting there at the end of August, and this is just looking dead. It's just looking dead. 11 cents, but somehow between the end of August and now, this has gone up to 36 cents. So something is happening here. But let's go back in time. It started life at 111. Look, magic for you, numerologist amongst us. Look, it came into the market with 111 and 33. So if anybody's into numerology, you'll understand that there's a significance there. Is this magic, my friends? Is it blockchain magic? Now, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, folks. And I know that this isn't my usual sort of thing, but let's look into it. Now, I want to bring your attention to the maximum supply, which is 2.1 billion Merlin. Now, this number is significant because With Bitcoin, it's 21 million is their cap. So they've kept it. Obviously, the tokenomics. I mean, obviously they've added a few zeros to it, but the 21, the 2.1, this is significant. So they've kept within that sort of range. And we're seeing that there's under 50%, which is generally a bad thing. But I'm going to explain why I don't think that this is such a bad thing as we go on. We see it's on Binance Alpha, which is good, and a few top tier exchanges. So this is impressive. And we see, look, lots of pages of exchanges as well there. Oh, look, Merlin accumulation, massive surge as two whales amass 98.24 million. So whales are maybe these are magic whales. Magic from the round table, reincarnation, Sir Galahad and Lancelot. How picking up Merlin Chain. Maybe King Arthur has come back to accumulate this. Who knows, my friends? Who knows? Anything's possible in crypto. So I'm going to go. I really am going to do a sort of an almost serious review here for you folks. So firstly, we look at tokenomics. This is generally not good. I generally don't like anything where there's over 50% of the supply that is still locked up. But I'm going to explain why I don't think this is going to be such an issue. Normally, this would be an issue. We see vesting, we see unlocks coming, we see little unlocks coming as we move along. They're not massive, but they are significant. But look, I mean, here we are. This is 57% now. We're in May 2026. Now, the odds are you'll be out by then. So it's not massive flooding, not massive. So yes, you can see the schedule holders, and you can see that there's 14,000 holders of Merlin Chain. You can also see the top 5 wallets have a very high concentration. This is not good, but I'm going to explain why I don't think that that's such an issue here. We're going to explain what Merlin Chain is. Don't worry, my friends. But to start off, I want to go to the website because this is what got my attention. I went to the website and this page came up. This right here. Stake Bitcoin and earn 21% API. Now, this seemed to me unrealistic. This is the sort of thing I would find on a scam website because from someone that's been in the space, if you get 6 to 8% on your Bitcoin, you're doing well. So how can these guys afford to pay 21% API? This feels like a bit scammy to me. So let's get beyond that and let's look at this. Merlin Chain, and look, there he is. There's Merlin. He's a wizard. He knows how to make better percentage on your Bitcoin. So discover Merlin. And what Merlin is, it's actually building on Bitcoin. Now, they're saying that their sealed total value locked is, well, that's an insane figure, 1.7 billion. I'm pretty sure maybe that's how much they're allowed in because that's nowhere close to what their total value locked is. So it supports various type of assets you can build on Merlin Chain. It's got all of these things in place. You go down, they're saying all these investors are involved in it. So it doesn't tell us much. So I thought straight away, let's go to Grok. Let's ask it, Grok, please tell me what you know about Merlin Crypto. They claim they are giving 21% API for staking Bitcoin on their website. Is this true? How do they do this? Blah, blah, blah. So let's go through it and let's see what Grok says about it. So Merlin Chain, I've asked them also to explain it as though you're a 7-year-old. I like to simplify. I like to encourage AI engines to simplify crypto for us newcomers. So here we go, my friends. Join me on a Grok-fueled explanation for a 7-year-old. Merlin Chain is like a magic playground built on top of Bitcoin, the big treasure coin. It lets people do fun stuff with Bitcoin faster and cheaper, like playing games or lending treasure without waiting forever. Yes, they really say you can earn up to 21% treasure for each year of locking up your Bitcoin there, like putting it in a special safe that grows it. It's not always exactly 21%, but it can be between 8% and 21%, and they are giving out around 17% before. Now, this is significant. When I read this, I wondered, why aren't more people using it? Something is not adding up here. Maybe Merlin has kept this magically hidden from most people, so it's a special treasure trove. I don't know. They do this by using your locked Bitcoin to help keep the playground safe and strong. Players putting it to work into little games like lending or trading inside the playground. Okay. Now you can read through all this should you wish to. But what it effectively said is it's got a strong team, and it's generally got good sentiment on X that people trust it. So this to me is confusing. How is this possible? How is it possible? I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm still asking questions about this chain. I really am. So we go onto their browser, which tells us the top holders that there's wallet there with 30. Well, there's a very high concentration in the first 5 wallets, which we've already seen. But I'm guessing that these are staking wallets. Now, without doing a massive deep dive, I couldn't say for certain. Usually, this would be a flag. But if they're staking Bitcoin on the protocol, you would expect at least one big wallet. I don't know why there's 4 here. Well, there's actually quite a few, right down to the 8th. This is a very high concentration in the top 8 wallets, and that's usually a bit of a red flag. So we go to Nansen and we find where's the liquidity. Now, Nansen keep doing this. They asked me to verify myself before I go on, just as I click back on. But what I can tell you is that on Binance Chain, and that's taking way too long. So we'll go off there. But we did find roughly about $1 million of liquidity on Nansen. So here we go into X. Now, this is significant. Look, almost 400,000 followers. This is insane. This is a huge following. We see September the 4th, so that's about roughly a month ago, 137. That's reasonable. They posted 20 hours ago with 40. Be unstoppable. There you go. Look, be unstoppable, folks. This could be unstoppable. Is it unstoppable? I don't know whether it is or not. But they've kept their updates and they've kept reasonable engagement. I mean, for the amount of people that are following this, that doesn't seem brilliant engagement. But it is engagement and they still are there. Look, Merlin Chain with Merlin holding a Bitcoin. Could this be a magic formula? Well, if you get 17% on your Bitcoin, that could be magic. Let's see if this is loaded up. Yes, here we go. So liquidity, almost $1 million. That's not too bad. It's not brilliant. It's not too bad either. And we see obviously this little price spike happening at the moment. We don't know what's happening. Something magical. So let's go to crypto rank. Now, this is important. So crypto rank, here we go. And we see that for the IEO, that they're down 81%. The people that got in here are down 81%, which is insane. They're sitting on a massive loss. So they're not going to be cashing out because they paid $2 a coin. And I want to take you back here because we went beyond and I said, what price did investors pay in the strategic funding round? Now, this is important. You understand this, my friends, because look, strategic, and they very rarely tell you what these people paid. Now, the potential for dumpage is directly proportional to how much profit these people are sitting on, which is why this is a metric we need to get as close as we can to finding out. So I've asked, and you should, this is a top tip for you if you're still watching. What price did investors pay per coin in the strategic funding round? And this is important because usually they don't tell you that. If the price cannot be found for any reason, please give your best estimate. So they couldn't find it, but here's the best estimate. 38 cents per token, roughly. Now, this isn't an exact science. We don't know unless we actually know the investors that went in. We couldn't say. But this is 38. And just to remind you, we're down to 36. So the current price is roughly what the strategic funders paid. And look, this is down 98%. But I just want to go into here. Look, it's showing momentum now. And if we go back further, look, this thing's been heading up lately. It's been showing momentum. Now, finally, we go on total value locked. This isn't a great picture, but something is happening. We don't know what it is. And finally, we go to my little tool here on Claude. And I'm not going to read all this to you. I'm just going to give you the scores, which is not great, but it's not bad. It's round about average. This is round about an average score that they give it. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail with this. I will just scroll down and show you things like this, should you wish to pause it, because I think we've covered all of the aspects. But there's something definitely not adding up here, my friends. There is something that I cannot work out, which is pretty much why I've recorded this video, because I'm not here just to tell you about Merlin Chain. I'm here to find out. So if there's stuff that you know that I don't, please post it. Please start the comments. Fill in the gaps for me, because I do not understand why this is not pumping harder and why people aren't discovering it. It's got high trust, pays big interest on Bitcoin, and it's got a very experienced team, but something is not working. Yet it has gone up from 11 cents to 37 cents in a relatively small period of time, and it's still sitting lower than what the VCs paid to get in. So is this a hidden gem? Is this magic waiting to happen? I don't know. You decide. You tell me. And if you've enjoyed this content, then please like and subscribe to the video. If you want another one, just there. But either way, stay lunatic, have fun, and make money with crypto.